Welcome, wonderful people. I am the Loose Critic, and today I'm giving you my loose impressions of Citizen Sleeper. Created by Jump Over the Age, they also developed In Other Waters a couple years back, which was a similarly narrative-heavy title that was quite enjoyable. I've spent about 8 hours in-game so far, which, funny enough, is enough time to complete a lot of the core story on your first time through. It is, I suspect, very different going through again. There's a lot of stuff that you just don't have time to do. There's a lot of different options that the narrative takes you down. And yeah, no, I got dragged into it. I completed it in 2 sessions, I think. Normally I try to not finish the games before I make a review, but this is one of those exceptions that was just really good. Now let's get into it. You'll notice here there's no settings menu. You do have to go into game before you have access to the settings menu, which I never like because the music was very loud when you first launched the game. And not being able to adjust those beforehand is very annoying. When you start a game, you get to choose between a couple of classes: the extractor, the operator, and the machinist. I don't know, that's one of those words that I've always read but never really had to speak. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly. All of them start with specific perks and skills which increase your dice rolls. This game makes decisions through dice that you roll at the start of each day. All of these perks can be unlocked later. They're not hard locked to these classes, so really all that matters between the classes is what kind of start you have. Let's go ahead and just go with the initial one, actually no, let's go with the one I can pronounce, the operator. Then I'm not constantly tripping over my words trying to pronounce something. Loading screens are a little long for what is a very text-heavy game. And because this game is very, very text-heavy, I will likely be skipping through a lot of this. The sound design is absolutely wonderful. The soundtrack is great. And actually, I think, yes, at this point I cannot access the options menu. It's very minimal. There's no resolution. It's going to default to borderless full screen to your monitor resolution. You can choose the speed of your text. You can see the music level is set to 5. Let's set that to 2. And you can set the size of the text. That's it. That's all of your options. There are a few different areas of the game that I think could benefit from this. There are some graphic settings that it's not graphical intensive, but on older machines I could foresee it causing some problems. But yeah, so it's text heavy. The audio is very pleasant. The SFX on the UI are great. Because I had just completed the initial playthrough that I did, I don't have a save in the middle of everything. I'm ready for this, so let's just go ahead and get in here. Each game you start talking to Dragos. I had to tilt my head a little bit to read that properly. The start is fairly similar, and slowly the game branches out. So I'm just going to skip through all this, because if you decide to play it, you might not want all of this spoiled. But the narrative is very, very engaging. There is a ton of lore in this title that is slowly revealed to you, and you start as essentially a human whose brain has been put into a robot and then thrown away, and you ran away. Because of that, you have no familiarity with this place. You don't have a lot of connections to the outside world, and it is a very good job of putting you as a player into the character's shoes, because you and the character are all learning this area together. So it has a day cycle where you get your energy and condition adjustments every day. It will show those here in just a moment. Just rush through this. Up here, so you see here, this top bar is your condition, then you have action dice, and then you have energy. You get action dice equal to your condition. You can see here that this orange dot is just past this 4th dice. If it was past this 5th dice, we would have 5 dice to choose from. These are rolled at random at the start of each day, and higher means better for certain actions. it gives you better success. And there's no success rate. Like if you put a dice in, that is the success level that you're going at. There is, with I believe 4 and 5 on the dice, different chances of positive success, but it is typically positive success. Sometimes, depending on what you're trying to do, it will be a minor negative with a big positive or just a positive. But there are a lot of features that require lower dice as well, so you don't just want a bunch of high dice. Sometimes you need a 1 or a 2 or a 3 in order to complete certain objectives. The story, 100% told through text. There's no voice. The map can be rotated. It's a very pretty map. You can't see all of it here, but it goes on for about half a loop, and then there's also a big tower in the middle. The story is told through these little interaction points. You have Drago's yard here, your empty container, which is your house, the low-end gate. There's, down the line, a whole bunch of stuff that just pops up here that you can interact with and learn. It's a very well-told story. And here's where the dice are. Here you go, yeah. Neutral or positive, neutral or negative. So there's a little bit of RNG there, but overall you're in control where you put these in the spaces. And you get to choose if that's a risk that you want to take. And a lot of the times you were told what the positive outcome will be, the neutral outcome, and the negative outcome. So you can decide just how risky you want to be on certain items. So here, we have a whole dissection and manual salvage. You can see I have an engineer perk of 0 and an endure perk of -1. So if I put a 4 dice in the endure perk, that's going to become a 3. If I put it over here in the engineer perk, that will just become a 4. And then both of these go towards 2 different clocks here. We go ahead and put this 4 here. We receive +10 pyro, which is the currency, and -1 energy. We put a 6 here. That should just give us some positive outlook. There we go, and you see we got +2 points to this clock. We back out. Up here is your drives, which are essentially your quests. And you can choose which of these to do and how you want to track them. They show up as a little yellow icon flashing. So if we go over to, let's go out here to the market. See here we can ask for directions. There's some danger. Over here, explore the market is risky. And if we go ahead and look at our character up here, you can see these are our skills. You gain upgrade points every now and then as you complete drives. When you complete drives, you get an upgrade point, and you do have to start at this far left one. So over here you can see my endure is -1. I would have to spend 1 point to get this, 1 point to unlock the next tier, and then 2 points for the tier after that. You can see there's a line here that differentiates that. So it's essentially 3 points per skill, and then 2 points for the next perk, and then 3 points to unlock the final bonus, which adds a higher value to your dice. So it turns lower dice for skill rolls into higher dice. Similarly as how you saw my endure lowered my dice from a 4 to a 3, it would turn a 4 to a 6, or if I was working with interface, it would turn my 4 to a 5. That said, we have 2 dice left. We are a little low on energy. Let's go ahead and wander the market, see if we can get any local knowledge built up. We only need 3 of these. There's 1. There's 2. And we're out of dice. Really all you can do once that happens is end your day. Oh, except you can see here that I do have some active scenes. You do need to complete your active scenes before you're able to rest. Which, let me see, where is this? Is it these? No. Oh, it's these, duh. The thing that looks different from everything else. You can see there's 2 of them here because I spent the time to explore the bright market. So you come over here and talk to Sabine. They are the doctor character. And I am going to skip all this so I don't spoil the story for you. The story is a very, very enticing story. The writing, Emphas isn't too big of a main character in the overarching story. We can go ahead and use his story as an example of the narrative. You can go ahead and pause this briefly to read this. I'll give it 5 seconds and then I'll continue to the next one, and I will just do that for this whole conversation and let you experience the narrative. And this is a good example of the lore coming out. Sleepers, that's essentially what you are. It's explained through multiple narratives and talking with different people. And all of the characters have a lot of personality. They're very different from each other in how they present and how they're written. The narrative team on this game did a very, very wonderful job. There were multiple points in this story where I did shed a couple of tears. The characters can be around for such a long time and you go through a lot with a lot of the different storylines and the characters there. Without spoiling too much, there is a pair of characters that you befriend while you're working on the job, and you learn about their life story and the struggles that they have and their goals, and at the end you have the choice between assisting them with their goals and in turn essentially giving up everything that you as the character have worked for in order to join them, or you can send them on their way and accept that you don't get to share in their happiness, but you have another goal that you have to complete and continue your own story as opposed to ending it there with them. And that was a really tough choice. There's definitely a lot of replay value in the game. But yeah, I believe that is it, so we can go on to the next cycle. And you can see here, I am fading, I am low, and I only got 3 dice this time around. There is items and data, and these are 2 different sets of essentially not strictly currency, but they are all used in exchange or on yourself throughout the game. It's a very short game. There's a lot of story, so it's very hard to show off without spoiling it. I highly recommend it. Try it out. The atmosphere is fantastic. The music is wonderful. You know what? I think that I will show you my late game just to give you a scale of how much there is to do and demonstrate that other. Yeah, so this is the area that you start out in, and you can see there's a bunch of different things here. There were more, but I've completed a lot of them at this point. This can go all the way over here to a whole nother area. This is the end of it. And then there is a third area. If we go back, we go up to this. Woo. It's a little bit disorienting. And yeah, so if you click this I button up here, you essentially enter the network view. If you go in here, you can see this requires a dice of 2 to match. 3 won't work. 5 won't work. 4 won't work. Actually, I believe 3. Yes, 3 will work. That will bypass because I have the. We go out of this view and we look at my character, except that I don't seem to have the button to look at my character. I think it's because I've unlocked everything, but you can see there's a bunch of different skills. A lot. 8 hours per playthrough. Different things happen each playthrough. And I did find out that the developers are releasing free content every now and then. There was one just now in July, and there's going to be another one in October that adds new story when you play through it and you start a new game, which I'm probably going to do after this, if I'm honest. I want to see the content. I want to see more of what the developers are writing. It's fantastic. They're so great at this. Citizen Sleeper is available for $19.99 on Steam, Epic, Xbox, and the Switch. If you end up liking Citizen Sleeper, I do recommend going and checking out In Other Waters as well. It was a fantastic game, released in 2020. It's a very narrative-heavy game. If you enjoy reading, if you enjoy learning about characters and getting attached to them, it pulls at your heartstrings and it forces you to make some tough choices that feel real. They don't feel arbitrarily thrown in to give the player a sense of onus or anything. It's very natural in how it's told and the choices that you make. Thank you for watching. I've been the Loose Critic. If you enjoyed this video, you can show your support by hitting the like or subscribe buttons below. And if you didn't, you can hit that dislike button. Trust me, my feeling will be hurt. I'll see you next time.